Imagine waking up one morning and feeling that something inside you has changed. It's not something you can easily explain, but you feel it. It's as if a part of you that has been asleep for years is beginning to awaken. Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant psychologists of all time, called this part the shadow, that aspect of ourselves we've hidden, repressed, and denied for so long that we almost forgot it existed. But the shadow never disappears. It simply waits for the right moment to emerge, to remind you that there are parts of yourself you haven't explored, aspects of your being that could completely transform your life once you acknowledge and integrate them. Today, we're going to talk about how to consciously activate that shadow to heal the deepest traumas we carry within. This isn't an easy path, but I promise you it's the most transformative journey you'll ever undertake. Have you ever wondered why you repeat the same painful patterns over and over again? Why you're drawn to the same toxic people? Why, despite your best intentions, you end up sabotaging your relationships, your dreams, your own happiness? Jung had a clear answer. Everything we don't acknowledge in ourselves gets projected outward, creating a mirror in our external world that reflects exactly what we refuse to see within. The 13 ways to activate and integrate your shadow one. Acknowledge its existence. The first step to activating your shadow is simply recognizing that it exists. This may seem obvious, but it's surprising how many people live their entire lives ignoring this dimension of their psyche. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Think about it. Every time you've said, "This always happens to me," "I have bad luck in love," or "I can never keep a good job," weren't you really describing the invisible work of your shadow? 2. Pay attention to intense emotional reactions. What people irritate you deeply? What behaviors in others do you find absolutely intolerable? Jung taught us that what bothers us most in others is precisely what we don't want to acknowledge in ourselves. That person you consider selfish, manipulative, or deceitful might be showing you aspects of your own shadow you've denied for years. I recall a woman who came to my practice furious with her sister, calling her manipulative. After several sessions, she realized she herself had that manipulative streak she despised, but had repressed so much she couldn't see it in herself, only in her sister. When she finally embraced it as part of herself, their relationship began to heal. 3. Explore your dreams. Jung considered dreams the royal road to the unconscious. In your dreams, your shadow appears as figures that chase you, scare you, or intrigue you. People of your same gender, mysterious figures, or even monsters. Paying attention to these characters and asking what they represent in your life is a powerful way to dialogue with your shadow. Keep a dream journal. Every morning before the day clouds your mind, write down what you remember. With practice, you'll recall more and notice recurring patterns and symbols speaking directly from your unconscious. 4. Examine addictions and compulsions. What behaviors do you repeat compulsively, even knowing they harm you? Overworking, overeating, toxic relationships. Jung understood that addictions are desperate attempts to fill a void that can only be filled by integrating shadow aspects. Each time you fall into a compulsive behavior, ask, what am I avoiding feeling? What part of me is screaming to be heard? 5. Engage in creative expression. Drawing, painting, writing, or dancing without judgment. Allowing what needs to emerge is a powerful way to give voice to your shadow. Jung practiced active imagination, letting unconscious images emerge freely and interacting with them. Try this. Take paper and draw without a specific intention. Let your hand move freely. When done, ask, what is this image telling me about the parts of myself I've ignored? 6. Identify your complexes. Jung defined complexes as emotionally charged groups of thoughts, feelings, and memories centered around a theme, like an inferiority complex triggered when you feel judged, causing disproportionate reactions to minor criticism. Notice situations that spark intense emotional responses. When you feel out of control, you're likely experiencing a complex, an opportunity to explore your shadow. 7. Embrace failures as teachers. Every failure, a failed project, a broken relationship, a missed opportunity, is a chance to ask, What part of me was operating here without my awareness? Jung believed failures often result from unconscious forces sabotaging our conscious efforts because there's something we need to learn. I worked with a successful entrepreneur who repeatedly ruined relationships just as they became serious. Exploring his shadow revealed a deep childhood fear of abandonment, causing him to sabotage relationships before he could be left. Recognizing this allowed him to heal and build lasting intimacy. 8. Meditate on your sins or shameful behaviors. Jung didn't see sin in religious terms, but as a disconnection from our true selves. Acts that cause shame or guilt are direct doorways to the shadow. Write a letter to yourself from the perspective of the part that committed a shameful act. What did it need? What was it trying to protect? Often, even your darkest behaviors had a positive intention, like protecting you or seeking love, albeit in distorted ways. 9. Explore your prejudices. We all have automatic judgments about certain people, behaviors, or situations. Jung taught that these are projections of our shadow. When you judge someone, ask, what about this person feels so threatening? What does it show me about myself I don't want to see? A client who despised superficial people discovered a repressed part of herself that craved beauty and abundance, but had been harshly judged in her religious family. Integrating this allowed her to stop judging others and enjoy life's simple pleasures guilt-free. 10. Work with archetypes. Jung identified universal patterns in the collective unconscious called archetypes: the hero, mother, sage, trickster. Exploring which archetypes resonate with or repel you reveals shadow aspects. For example, many reject the fool archetype, that chaotic, irrational energy defying norms. But Jung taught we need all archetypes to be whole. Perhaps the part of you craving spontaneity and rule-breaking is what you need to feel alive. 11th. Practice active imagination. This Jungian technique involves conscious dialogue with figures from your unconscious. Focus on an intense emotion or dream image. Let it evolve and observe while staying partially conscious. A client visualized her anger as a raging dragon. Asking what it needed, she learned it had been protecting her from abusive relationships. Instead of suppressing her anger, she honored it as a constructive force. 12. See relationships as mirrors. Jung believed we're drawn to people who reflect unconscious aspects needing integration. Your closest friends, partner, even enemies show different facets of your shadow. Think of 3 emotionally significant people. For each, ask, what quality do I admire or despise most in them? How might this reflect an unrecognized part of me? 13. Embrace traumas as portals to wholeness. Jung understood that our deepest wounds hold the seeds of our greatest strength. Trauma fragments our psyche, trapping parts of ourselves in moments of pain. Activating your shadow means returning to those moments, not to relive pain, but to rescue those trapped parts. This requires courage, compassion, and often a skilled therapist, but it's the most direct path to healing. The journey of individuation. When we work with the shadow, we face emotions we've avoided for years: anger, sadness, shame, fear. Jung taught that these aren't enemies but messengers carrying vital information about unmet needs and unhealed wounds. Imagine your shadow as a small child locked in a dark basement, banging on the door, desperately trying to get your attention. Every self-destructive behavior, toxic relationship, or moment of unexplained anxiety is this child's attempt to communicate. When you finally open that door and listen, you discover it's not the monster you feared, but a vulnerable part of you waiting to be recognized, accepted, and loved. Jung called the process of psychological integration individuation, becoming a psychologically whole, unified individual. It's not about individualism, but discovering your true identity and unique purpose. Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Each time you integrate a shadow aspect, you move closer to your true self. This is a lifelong journey with moments of profound revelation followed by periods of integration. Each step brings liberation, like shedding a weight you've carried too long. The rewards of shadow work. Integrating your shadow dramatically increases your vital energy. The energy spent repressing these parts is suddenly freed, available to create, love, and live fully. Your relationships transform as you stop projecting onto others, seeing them as they are, fostering authentic connections. Jung noted that many reach midlife feeling something fundamental is missing, despite external success. This emptiness is the soul's call to embark on the journey to wholeness, a crisis that's really a sacred opportunity to be reborn. Jung wrote, "There is no birth of consciousness without pain." Shadow work is challenging, but its pain is the pain of expansion, of becoming more than you were. You'll know you're doing it right when you feel relief, like an inner tension has released. You'll have more space within, more capacity to experience joy, sadness, anger, fear, all human emotions, without being overwhelmed. Relationships in challenging situations lose their triggering power, and you respond consciously rather than react automatically. A personal invitation. This isn't about fixing yourself. You're not broken, you're divided. Shadow integration is about remembering your original wholeness, reclaiming forgotten or rejected parts. Jung believed each of us has a unique purpose, but we can only live it by integrating our shadow. Otherwise, our energy scatters in internal conflicts and external projections, and we never manifest our true potential. If you've felt that inner call, that sense there's more to you, that something essential is missing despite your achievements, that's your deeper self inviting you to this journey. It's no coincidence you're hearing this now. There's a part of you that knows it's time to reunite with your forgotten aspects. This path isn't easy, but every step towards shadow integration brings you closer to authenticity, purpose, and genuine connection. You don't have to do this alone. Seek a Jungian therapist, a support group, or friends on a similar path. Jung wrote, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." It's time to awaken, to look within, and reclaim the parts of you waiting to be recognized. Every shadow aspect holds a gift. Your anger holds your power and ability to set boundaries. Your sadness, your compassion and capacity for deep connection. Your fear, your intuition and wisdom. Your shame, your vulnerability and humanity. Nothing needs to be eliminated. Everything must be transformed and integrated. The spiritual dimension. Shadow integration leads to the Jungian archetype of the self, the totality of your psyche, transcending and including the conscious ego. This encounter often feels profoundly spiritual, a recognition that you're part of something greater. Jung saw symbols of the self in spiritual traditions worldwide: mandalas, the philosopher's stone, Christ, Buddha, all pointing to psychic wholeness as both our origin and destiny. Shadow work is a spiritual path, a journey home. A final reflection. Jung wrote, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." Though we can't change our past or wounds, we can choose how to integrate them, transforming obstacles into stepping stones to a fuller life. If this resonates, take a moment to reflect. What aspect of my shadow is asking for attention right now? What emotion, behavior, or pattern have I been avoiding? What small step could I take today to integrate this part? You don't need to do it all at once. Shadow integration is gradual, and every step counts. Maybe acknowledging an avoided emotion, having an honest conversation, or starting a dream journal. If this message touched you, share it with someone who might benefit. We're all on this journey together, and each person who integrates their shadow contributes to collective healing. Feel free to comment with your own shadow work experiences or questions. This community is a safe space to explore these depths together. Your reflections might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Thank you for being here, for your openness, and for your willingness to dive into the depths of your being. The most important journey you'll ever take isn't to the stars, but to the center of your own heart. There, in that sacred space, you'll find everything you've ever sought.